All right, good day, guys. Welcome to Nectar Studios, Nectar Podcast. My name is Divine Egovie. Today, I have a full house. I wish I could get the names of everybody here, but that's going to be very impossible. But my EJ is here. She's looking all sassy. I need to make my hair because of EJ. And Ella is looking like a hoodlum. Anyway, guys, with me today is someone who is very dear to me. She's not just a friend, she's someone I admire a lot, and her husband happens to be my mentor. So if I make mistake in this interview, I'm going to be writing jam test all over again. And thank God he's not even around to watch the interview until maybe when he sees it online, because I know at some point if he was there, he will say, Divine, wait, cut. Go back. Is that what I taught you? Ask that question. Go back again. But anyway, it's good to have you here in Nkem Ajupo. By the way, my mentor's name is Sammy Ajupo. We call him Super Sam. And he's super because Super Sam is one amazing guy. I would want everybody to learn under. He is selfless when it comes to passing out the knowledge that he has. But today is not about Super Sam. Today is about Nkem Ajupo. She is a registered nurse and midwife. And she's working in a federal establishment. I wish I could cough out the federal establishment, but let me not just talk for the sake of the federal establishment. So that someone will not come and kidnap me and say, hey, Nkem, come and pay ransom. But anyway, guys, me and Nkem, we have been in this conversation for quite a while. I've been saying that I'm going to ask her about this thing because she's always ranting about it on Facebook and many people don't take it seriously. And this has to do with our private parts as women, washing of the vagina, and for the guys, washing of the penis. We're not going to sugarcoat it and say washing of pencil or Gabriel or whatever slangs you people want to call it. That's your business. We want to talk about washing the vagina and the penis, what you're supposed to use. And for Nkem, I think this is like her personal pet project. It's a campaign that she has taken upon herself, because if you're in her line of industry, you understand that she gets to see things like this all the time. So Nkem, it's good to have you here. Now,
thank you.
Before we dive in, there was a day we had this argument in one of the offices I'd worked in previously, and someone was saying that the penis, in the vagina, there's only one hole. Some people say no, it's two. Some say it's three. I can even count it. It's three. So please just tell us, what's the vagina made of? How many holes do we have? How many holes are we supposed to wash? Just tell us what it is.
Okay. Actually, the vagina is one of the organs, a part of the reproductive female organ.
Okay.
What you should be asking is the vulva. The vulva is the one we can see. You know, when you take a mirror as a lady and you look down there, it's the vulva you see. The vulva is the outer female reproductive organ, the outer part of the female reproductive organ. And you see in the vulva, you see two openings actually.
Okay.
One is the urethral opening and one is the vaginal opening.
Okay.
Now the urethral opening is very small. You could miss it if you don't look very well. But the vaginal opening and the urethral opening is small because it has something we call a sphincter that keeps it closed so that you don't leak urine. That's where urine comes out from. Then the vaginal opening is the one that you see. It's open. That's for childbirth, sexual intercourse, and that's where the menstrual blood comes out from, and the vaginal discharge. So that's the vulva. Then you see the labia, the clitoris, and the labia. There are two, the labia minora and the labia majora. The minora is the one inside the inner lip. Then the majora is the outer one that has the pubic hairs on it.
Okay.
So the vulva has two openings. That's about that. Then the labia minora, the smaller lip inside, the one that has the clitoris at the upper part, that's the one that encloses where the openings are. Okay. The labia majora now, encloses the labia minora. So that's the vulva.
Sorry, I'm going to
that's
ask
the place
this.
we walk.
Okay, so sorry, I'm going to ask this question. I've always heard that women have orgasms. Where does the is it not orgasm? Women squeak. Where does the squeak come out from? Is it the part where you have the urine, the
Where
part
does
where
the
the
what
urine
come?
comes out from, or where exactly?
Where does what come out from? The sweating.
Yes, the sweating. Is it sweating or squeating?
Okay. Sweating is not urine. Some people say it's urine. It's not urine.
What is
You
it?
know, there are some just at the opening of the vagina. There are two tiny glands. You may not be able to see it. There are two tiny glands on either side of the opening of the vagina that contain some fluid.
Okay.
You know, that at the height of sexual ecstasy, it could leak some fluid, and it doesn't happen to every woman. Doesn't happen to every
whether you are
woman. So
circumcised or not, it doesn't happen to every woman.
it doesn't happen to every woman. It does have nothing to do with circumcision or no circumcision, because the organs are just open out to just the inside of the vaginal opening. You know, unless the circumcision was very radical and those organs have been excised in the process of the circumcision, or become fibrosed, or the opening of those organs have been blocked, you know, by scar tissue due to circumcision. What the circumcision affects is the clitoris. You know, the clitoris could be excised during circumcision. You know, that's the part of sexual excitement, the organ that has to do with sexual excitement that could be excised during circumcision, depending on the type of circumcision and the radical nature of the circumcision. You know, that's female genital mutilation. That's why it's called mutilation. It's not supposed to be, you know, so that's it.
Okay. So now let's go down to the main crops of the matter, which is the washing part. There are vaginal wash. There are, people say you can use, I'm trying not to promote any brand, but some of these disinfectants that we put in our water when we want to take our bath, you know. And some people say hot water, some people say salt, some people say vinegar, different types of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, all sorts of different things people recommend that you can use to wash your down below your vagina. I know some people in this studio, I don't want to say if their third legs are already rising or if it's exciting them, but you know, there are things that people say you can use to wash in between your vagina. What's your recommendation?
Okay, that's part of my campaign against the vagina, because against the products used in the vagina.
Okay.
If you're washing your vulva with this product, you know, I don't really have a problem with washing the vulva if the products are certified and are not harmful. They don't contain harmful chemicals. You know, they don't contain. There are some really good ones that are pH balanced and all that. But I mean, wash your vulva with water. Water alone, copious water, a lot of water is enough to wash your vulva. That's the part you can see. But inside the vagina, you have no business washing inside the vagina.
Why?
A lot of neat freaks, in quotes, feel that you are clean when you wash inside the vagina. But let me just explain a bit. The discharge you're trying to wash away from the vagina does not come from the vagina. The vagina wall is a mucous membrane, like the inside of your mouth.
Okay.
You know, if you touch the inside of your cheek, it's a bit it's moist.
Slimy.
It's always moist. That's how the
Yes.
inside of the vagina is supposed to be, the lining, the mucous lining in the vagina. And the vagina is it has some folds we call rugae. Why it has that rugae is so that during delivery of sexual intercourse it can stretch. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the cells on the vagina don't secrete anything. The secretion comes from the cervix. The cervix is the neck of the uterus. When you go deeper from the vagina, you're going to hit the cervix before you enter the uterus. The cervix has glands. The cells of the cervix have glands that secrete mucus. The mucus now washes down from the vagina out to the exterior, to the vulva.
Okay.
If you wash inside your vagina, what are you washing? You're not washing anything.
Okay, so
you wash off the cells that
let me pause. Let me pause you there. I used to have this roommate some many years ago, and you know how you stay in Face Me I Face You house? So we had to go take a bath together. And she had a way of dipping her hand into herself, and she'll bring out some very, you know, when milk has congealed, like when it has caked, yes, she brings out white stuff like that from herself and say, oh, this is really dirty. So she will do that until there is no more white. It's not whitish, it's not translucent, it's really white, like milk that has so she brings that out and
it out from the vagina.
Yes. So is that wrong? Because she does that like every morning, literally every morning. Wrong. So what's the side effect of doing such a thing?
Doing that, the vagina contains something we call a lactobacillus acidophilus. Is a bacteria that maintains the acidic nature of the vagina, and that lactic acid, that acid is supposed to maintain a sort of sterility of the vagina. I won't call it sterility, but the acid fights off any infection that is supposed to, predispose or impose itself on the vagina. When you wash inside the vagina, you're going to alter the pH balance of the vagina.
Okay, so let me
You're going to alter the acidity of the vagina.
Let me pause and
so when you alter it, you predispose yourself to infections.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you another question, which I know some people are not going to like. Guys who go down there and put their tongue, they want to give the lady a head job. Okay. Those all the things you have mentioned that are supposed to remain in there, how does it affect the man, or his tongue doesn't get there? Where exactly is he supposed to put his tongue? I know this is not a sexual class, but it's also important for them to know, because if they say, okay, so she's not washing and those things are there, those things are chemical in her body that's supposed to help her, and my mouth is supposed to go there, how does it affect me as a guy?
Well, I wouldn't want to speak against.
Let me leave.
I wouldn't want to speak against people's sexual preferences and how they prefer to have their sexual experience, but I'm just speaking against going deep into the vagina with anything at all, aside what is meant to go in there, because the problem the man may have is the man you should even be concerned about, because if the woman has some infections like candidiasis, if the woman has an infection like candidiasis, she could infect him with oral thrush. She has herpes, he could get the infection in the mouth. So that's some of the dangers. Just like every other sexual positions or preferences could have other health implications. So that's why it's good for women to pay attention to their bodies and know when. That brings me back to the way you treat your vagina.
Okay.
If you keep altering the pH of your vagina is not going to. You're going to be getting signals that are not accurate, because your body will now be exposed to all sorts of infections.
Okay.
And you will still wash more, thinking that washing it is going to take away the infection, but you're actually predisposing yourself more.
Okay, so
doing that.
If you wash without soap, but you wash and you go in and you wash everything out without soap, is that bad?
You shouldn't put your finger in the vagina in the first place.
But guys, they put their finger there.
Yeah, during sexual pleasure. This is not something you do every morning and every night.
I've seen somebody who says that she can have sex morning, afternoon, night. So imagine if
then she has more than the pH of her vagina to worry about. You know.
Okay.
Depending on who she's having. I mean that's her preference. That's what she wants. But it's a lot of people that speak against not washing the vagina. I've come to realize that a lot of them are people that maybe have multiple sexual partners or are highly sexually active, or maybe they just have the wrong orientation, and a lot of women are set in their ways. Women are stubborn when it comes to that. They feel if you don't wash your vagina like that, you are not clean, you won't get everything out. But let me ask, some people even say after your period, or when your period, you should put your hand in your vagina to wash out of the blood. The blood comes from the womb, it doesn't come from the vagina. So will you wash the womb too? You know, Anything in there is going to come out. You would wash inside the vagina or not. It's going to flow out on its own. That's the way we are wired. So wash your vulva. I'm not saying you shouldn't use soap. What I do is I just put a little soap on my palm and I wash my vulva. Then pour a lot of water. Wash the opening of the vagina. I don't put my hand inside. I just wash the outer part of it. You know, wash it well.
Okay.
With water. Then what I do is I smell. When I think I've washed it enough with water, I smell my hands.
Okay.
My fingers. If the vagina, if that opening of the vulva, the vagina is clean enough, you're going to perceive like it smells like onions a bit.
Onion.
You know. Yes, it smells a bit like onions. That's when you know you've washed off. What you're going in for is to wash off the secretions that have flowed out to the vulva. Those are the ones that pronounce smelly, not the one in the vagina. The one in the vagina, nothing is wrong with it. It is one that has come out to your pants or to the vulva that could become, maybe if it stays for long.
Okay.
You know, that one, by the time other factors act on it, it can start smelling, becoming offensive a bit.
Okay,
not,
so
if you
the
find out
outer
that
part that smells, it's not even the inner part.
Offensive. You find out that the fresh discharge that is coming out is offensive, as in you are washing your vulva, and you find out that the discharge that is just you've washed and washed and washed, or you even notice that when you go to ease yourself, you notice that the has an off color, maybe it's greenish, or it has some kind of smell. That's why you need to pay attention.
You have to take that again. The network was breaking at some point.
Okay, can you hear me well now?
Yes, better.
So I was saying that's why it's good to pay attention to your body. It's not something you do once. Okay. Every time you go to ease yourself, you cannot tell me that you only ease yourself before you leave your house in the morning and only at night. In between the day, you ease yourself and you notice that this is my discharge. It's like it has some funny smell, or it's more than it should be, because every stage of our cycle we have different discharges for different stages of our cycle. Post menstruation, during ovulation, post ovulation, before your period. You know, there are different kinds of discharges, different consistencies. You know, even during pregnancy there's a different kind of discharge you get, but it's not supposed to have an offensive smell. It's not supposed to have a fishy smell. It's not supposed to be greenish. It's not supposed to be yellowish. Okay. It's not supposed to be, you know, all those things. So by the time you notice that it's off from what it used to be, then you know that you need to see a doctor. That is why we advise, don't wash inside your vagina, so that you will know when something is off. If you wash inside your vagina and alter the pH of the vagina, you're going to be getting wrong signals.
Okay,
you know?
So let me okay, someone is asking what causes the wetness and wateriness from a vagina that makes some men complain. It makes men complain maybe when they want to have sexual intercourse. Am I right?
What wetness?
Yes, wetness of the vagina. But I think every woman gets wet once you're taught.
During sexual excitement, I don't think a man should complain about wetness, because that's what he should be looking for easy penetration, you know. Okay. So during sexual excitement, if the woman is, that's why we tell men to do some foreplay, because women don't get as aroused easily as men. We have to be aroused enough to be wet. So do some foreplay so that she gets wet enough.
If I may
those glands I told you about at the opening of the vagina, they secrete, some juice that helps to keep the vagina.
Okay, so the question should be if those juice has an offensive odor, what should be the next call of action
during sexual intercourse?
Yes.
The wetness is not what's giving offensive odor. It's the discharge that was already coming out from the vagina that is infected. Is the vagina is already infected. So the truth is, it's not just the wetness for sexual intercourse that is smelling, that has an offensive smell. It's not just that. It is the normal discharge will also be mixed with it, you know. The cells that secrete those mucus, those vaginal mucus, or the things that come out of vagina, they become hyperactive during sexual intercourse, so that they secrete more for wetness, and it's usually more during ovulation because the body is wired that ovulation is when fertilization should take place. So you notice that when you're ovulating, you become a bit more horny or a bit more you want to have sex, and you become more wet. That's why the mucus during ovulation is like egg white. It's very slippery.
Yes.
To aid sexual intercourse, ease of sexual intercourse, and also to aid transport of the semen, the sperm, into the womb, so that the acidity of the vagina does not affect it, badly. Yes.
Okay, so in we're trying to wrap up. We're trying to wrap up right now. For guys, is it the same thing as the ladies when it comes to washing their private parts? Like the
Guys don't have it really. Don't have much of a problem.
Okay, so there's no need for them to start dipping their hands in
on the penis and the skin on the skin on the penis and the scrotum are their normal skin on the body. That's why for a woman that is having intercourse for the first time, a virgin that is having intercourse for the first time, most times we tend to treat a lot of a series of maybe infections because the skin has normal flora on it.
Okay.
That keeps it the way it is. It's when it lives where it is and goes to somewhere where it's not used to be, somewhere where it's not supposed to be, then it will cause an infection. Like Staphylococcus aureus is the normal flora on the skin. And because the skin on the penis is like normal skin on the body, when a woman has sexual intercourse for the first time, the vagina is just used to having secretions coming out and the menstrual blood flowing out.
Okay.
So when a woman is having intercourse for the first time, those normal flora on the skin of the penis can enter the vagina and begin to cause some little issues here and there. So like me, when I started having sexual intercourse, I treated some mild infections here and there for a while before my body got used to having the skin in there.
Okay.
So it's like the body now gets accustomed to that. Okay, this is going to be the norm.
Okay.
From now on.
Okay, so
that's why we advise people to don't have multiple sexual partners, because you don't know what this other person has, and you could be even a vehicle for transmitting from one person to the other person. You understand?
So what as a way of wrapping up, what chemical should we look out for when we are buying all this feminine wash or whatever soap that you have that you want to use to wash down below? And I mentioned vinegar, but I've seen crazy things. So salt, camphor, not camphor, that potash that I use in cooking soup, alum to wash.
You know what alum does to snail, right?
Yes, it makes it dry.
It washes off the slime.
Yes.
That's what it does to the vagina, which is not good. It's like eroding the walls of the vagina,
Okay.
And it could lead to friction. It could even increase the risk of getting infected, because when the mucous membrane that is slimy is not there again, during sexual intercourse you could have bruises, and be infected with something, or even washing the vulva alone with all these things, these crude things, could wash off the mucous membrane of the vulva and lead to, you could be having friction with your pants. You could be having, it's not comfortable, it's not right. I personally don't advocate for using any of these vaginal washes.
What about
the water?
Are people allowed
cream?
Yes,
You don't need cream. The only thing you need, maybe during sexual intercourse for easy penetration, is just a water-based lubricant. That's what you need.
Okay.
Because sometimes when a woman starts having children, sometimes the hormonal effects of childbirth or even age could affect the wetness of the vagina. You may not be getting as wet as you used to. You will still have orgasms, but you won't get as wet as you used to. It happens to a lot of us. So we advise that you use water-based lubricants. I'm trying not to call any brand. Water-based lubricants. They are everywhere. They're easily affordable.
Okay, so let's get back to the chemicals. What chemicals should we look out for that are good for the body? Or if you can't remember anyone, what chemicals should we look out for?
You don't use anyone.
They're not good. Some of this feminine wash or whatever to wash your vagina comes with a lot of chemical composition. Which of these compositions should we avoid?
Why we say don't use anyone, because the one they wrote is that was actually there. The one they wrote may not be what's actually there. So maybe you may want to, if you still really want to use a feminine wash, you may want to see a gynecologist to, or a health worker to help you go through them and maybe advise you on the best one to use. I think even a dermatologist can help
Okay,
to advise you on the best one to use that will be less harmful.
now this just popped into my head. I've seen vaginal spray. The one that they say you have to spray your down below to make it to kill offensive odor, so that when the guy goes there, it's a bit. Now you're just going to answer these two things before we call it a wrap. Now I've also seen
You did what?
I've seen vaginal spray. That's one. And during sexual intercourse, I've heard guys say, you have to take yogurt down there, pour yogurt on the vagina, and suck it out and all that. Yes, gross, but you do it. Is that also good? Because these yogurts, these things have chemicals in them.
I don't know why someone would suggest yogurt. Maybe because of the probiotics in yogurt. Maybe.
Some people use
Maybe
milk.
because of
Some
the
people
probiotics.
just put things there so that it will taste better when they're down there.
It doesn't make sense to me because the way we are wired as women, our secretions, especially during ovulation, are supposed to give off a sense that it's arousing to men. Some pheromones that is arousing to men. Even in animals, when they are on heat, they have this smell. That's why you see a male goat smelling the vagina of a female goat.
Oh wow.
So I don't know why you should, if you have a need to spray something on the vulva to give it a good smell, that means you have an offensive smell you need to take care of.
Okay.
You have an offensive smell you need to take care of. All you need to do is just have a bath before you have sex to wash off the discharge that has washed out and could maybe be stale. Okay. You don't have no business spraying anything there. You shouldn't spray it.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that's you didn't answer
and
one
you
part.
should also, another advice I would give, you should tell your partner to, you should be open enough to your partner to be able to communicate to you when the smell there is, because you may not notice, but your partner can notice. Like my husband will tell me that sometimes he'll tell me, this smell, this and that and this and that. Then I may now pay attention and know, oh, maybe I have something that I need to take care of. So your partner should be open enough to tell you that, this place not smell like it used to. Maybe did you use a toilet outside that, have you been noticing anything? Then maybe you now tell yourself, oh, that's why I've been itching or something, So be open enough. Communication is very vital. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be ashamed of. These are normal things. And for women, we exhibit these signs easily because of our body structure than the men. So we need to communicate well and pay attention to our bodies. That's just what I want to advise.
Thank you. All right, guys. So we've been talking to Mrs. Nkem Ajupo. She's the wife of my mentor. That's why she's free to have this conversation with me. She's also a certified nurse and midwife. Anyway, this is where we're going to call it a wrap, but I want to say a very big thank you to you for joining. It's been amazing. Like, I didn't even know questions to ask. I have guys in the studio. Are there, EJ, do you want to ask any question? Is there anything you are confused about?
It was nice being here.
Okay, so she said visit. Someone is asking if you have for someone who has a very strong vaginal offensive odor, what do you need to do? That's why I asked initially that people go get vaginal spray so that it can be scenting nice when the guy is going down there.
If
Some
you have
girls
a
even
strong
sit down
vaginal
and their labs are oozing. Sometimes they say, is it food? She's asking, whatever you take in as per food wise, does that also does it affect?
Yeah, it affects. But it shouldn't give a strong offensive odor.
Oh,
it's just like putting body spray on someone that has body odor. You are masking the problem. You are not solving it.
Okay.
You're trying to cover the problem. So if you have a strong offensive vaginal odor, and vaginal discharge is smelling badly, you have no business masking it. You should, because if you're masking it with a spray, you could infect the man you're going to meet with whatever it is that is happening down there. So you need to see a doctor and get it treated.
Okay, so you get that right. Any other question from anybody in the house? No questions. So thank you very much for joining us. We hope to have a
Welcome. Thank
round
you for
two.
having me.
Now I want to ask this one. It's just popped into my head. Now for some ladies who find it very difficult to get wet during sexual intercourse. Now, like you've mentioned, they've used some chemicals like alum and all of that, vinegar makes it dry as well, and some other chemicals. What would you advocate? Are there things that you need to take to get back that juicy vagina back?
Yes, I think at this point you need to see a doctor.
Okay, sorry, you have to take that part again. The network was breaking.
Okay, I said, say the truth when we ask take your medical history. It helps us, and we wish to correct, whatever damage has been done. The body most times heals itself, but sometimes you need a little help here and there.
Okay.
So see a gynecologist and tell him the things you've used down there and what damage has been done. Then they could help you with some drugs or some therapy to correct the pH balance of the vagina and bring it back to what it's supposed to be. Then advise you on how to maintain it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. This is where we call it a wrap. We'll be back next week, Friday. Don't forget that you need to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And please, like she has said, be open enough to talk to your doctor. Be free to express yourself. Now, I know my boss is going to watch this from beginning to end. Oga, you need to buy me, what is owing me shawarma? Oga, you need to get me shawarma. I did well, Shay. All right. Thank you guys for joining. My name is Divine Igovia. I'm always your big deal. And this is Full Chest. Please subscribe and tell us what you think in the comments below. All right. Bye. I'll call you later. Oh, I didn't even mention, guys, she's all far away somewhere in Enugu and we're somewhere in Akwa Ibom. All right, so thank you very much. Her inbox is open, but don't go there and go and say hi, hello. Just go straight to the point, ma. Yes, her inbox is open, but just go straight to the point. Hello, ma. I use this, I use that, I did this. Don't go and say, ma, you are pretty. Then before you start saying, she will not answer you. She's worse than me. Just go straight to the point, and she'll definitely help you out. All right, thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.